Okay, it's a little chilly out here, but I've got the new Mint Discs and Newton Supply Co. handmade bag, and inside I've got a whole lot of pickles. So let's see. First up, let's get the ones that have been released. This is one of the first ones out. This is the Party Royal. Next, we've got just regular soft Royal. Some nice swirls in this one. Uh, then we have this one's also new, coming out this Friday at the Pickle Party, November 14th. This is Mega Soft and it glows. Not gonna see that glow today, but coming out Friday night and we'll see how they glow. This one's labeled as a Mega Soft, but much more flimsiness. So kind of close to what they were trying to call Queso Soft. It's not Queso Soft, but it's pretty floppy. Then we've got, this is also pretty limited, so thanks to Efren for snagging me one. This is the Mega Soft Apex. And then this one, they ran a bunch of events, but this is the Mega Soft Eternal. That haven't been released yet, so we've got a firm Royal, saying super stiff. And then probably the one I'm most looking forward to. This is Sublime. So this is Sublime Pickle. So, like I said, I got a whole lot of pickles. We're gonna see how they all fly compared to each other, and then I've got a few other discs I might compare them to once we see how some of them fly. So let's check it out. Wind's kind of swirling on me, but first I'm gonna throw this Party Royal one. Pretty cold weather. I'm kind of starting to experiment with a fan grip. I've never really loved, I normally power grip my putters, but never really loved power gripping Royal. So switch it up. Maybe I'm turn this into a little bit of learning session. So here's the soft Royal. Look like it had a little more glide in it there. Could just be the wind bouncing it around. Okay, here's the Mega Soft Glow. Pretty nice. Okay, this is the one that's so weird to throw. So this is the, I'll call it Super Mega Soft, but it's technically just Mega Soft. Yeah, it doesn't fly like the Queso, so it's definitely a different disc, but kind of in between Mega Soft and Queso. Okay, here's Mega Soft Apex. Ooh, wind's gonna give me some interesting results, but again, it's keeping them pretty straight. Here's Mega Soft Eternal. Starting to like these more. That felt nice. Okay. Here's the really firm Royal. Slipped out of my hands a bit. Still feeling pretty nice. And then last but not least, the one I'm most looking forward to, the brand new Sublime Pickle. Oh yeah, I'm gonna like that. Yeah, I think I found that the most in challenges, so it's kind of beats into straight. Woo! The Mega Soft Glow might have the most glide. Man, that one still feels so weird when it comes out of the hand. Shank that one a little bit. Someone to come back. Oh, pulled that one over. Whew. All right, starting to warm up a little bit again. Ooh, very nose up. Put that on Annie, and it is holding. I've seen that a lot with the other pickles I've thrown before. Is like they're pretty stable, will hold, but then they will hold lines. And so if you kind of get them on Annie, they'll just kind of glide on Annie and die at the end a little bit. Oh my gosh. Oh, yeah, that Mega Soft is still just so weird in the Mega Soft Royal. I think we're getting more of a crosswind out there too. It's pushing them over to the right. It's nice because like I'm seeing a little bit of difference in each of these, but honestly, for this many different types in this first run, they're all pretty similar. Get them out of it. Nice. Okay, switch with that wind on those last set. I'm gonna try and throw these on a little bit of hyzer. Emphasis on try. You know, with my content, it's a lot of frisbees, not a lot of great throws. But yeah, I'm gonna try and throw these on hyzer and see if they'll kind of hold it more, get them to go left. Yeah, kind of like when they hold the Annie line. I was messing them up earlier. These will just kind of push on hyzer and get left. Ooh, a lot of hyzer, a lot of nose up. And oh, that one's so weird. I feel like I can tell how much hyzer I'm putting on them just by how much they're pushing to the left. Like you can kind of see the just holding the line, the amount you put them on. I'll flip up a little more. Yikes. Well, as you see, a lot of hyzer, and they'll get way left. Okay, I'm gonna try that one more time. Okay, I'm gonna hit them on a little hyzer again. Hopefully do a little better. Bang. Around the sand hill. Get out of it. I have to like completely adjust my form and run up for that thing. Also, after like 4 throws, you can feel it already getting even softer. I feel like they're flying nice when I get them on like just like 20 to 30 degrees of hyzer. Okay, okay, starting to form some opinions. Oh yeah, that Sublime is exactly what I wanted. So that one's, anyways, I'll save my thoughts for the end, but I'm liking that one so far. All right, ran in my car to get a few things to compare it to. So I think after the initial, I'm just gonna stick to these three pickles, at least to compare them to the others. So still the Party Royal, the new Sublime, and the Mega Soft Eternal. I think these kind of cover the ranges of pickles so far. Pretty straight. This one's kind of beat in, and it's Royal. Sublime's holding nice and straight, but still that stability. And I think my early contender for the most stable pickle is this Mega Soft Eternal. So I've got those three, and I'm going to compare them to some discs that just off the top of my head I think might fly a little similar, or at least feel similar. So got some Lassos. I've got the one I've had in my bag, so it's pretty beat-in glow lasso, and this new Royal lasso. So again, two of the more straighter lassos. Probably still going to be more stable than the pickle, but kind of feel similar-ish. No bead, a little shallower. And then we got ooh, just one bullet. This new run of Eternal Soft bullets have been kind of the most stable. So I want to see again without the bead if they'll fly similar. I think the pickle's the closest thing to a bullet with a bead, but at least in my opinion. So, and this one's pretty stable. So let's see how it compares. And I've got two UFOs. I got a Royal medium one from one of the Ace races a while ago, and then this brand new glow one. So again, the glow UFOs are a little more stable, especially when they're starting out. So we'll see how it feels. And again, this just feels to me like a little bit deeper pickle. And then last up, I've got two Profits. I expect these, especially this glow one, to be much more stable. So I pulled one out of my bag, so it's been beat up a little bit, and then I've got just a OG Sublime Profit. So again, I'm gonna throw these against the three of the pickles and see how kind of they fly and compare. Yeah, first we got the Party Royal pickle. Still throwing them kind of on hyzer from earlier, but I'll try and keep it consistent and get them a little flatter. Here's the Sublime pickle. Woo. And Mega Soft Eternal pickle. Yeah, I pulled that one over, but it's actually got some fade at the end. All right, now let's get to the other kind of disc. So this is a soft Eternal bullet. Yep, like a farther, kind of straighter. That's what I expected. Okay, Royal medium UFO. Ooh. Throw them again to see if I threw that on angle, but might be a little flippier. Obviously it's Royal. Okay, we got the glow UFO. Okay, pretty close to a pickle. Then we got the Royal Soft Lasso. Yeah, kind of what I expected. More stable, but that Royal's pretty comparable. And here's my beat up glow lasso. Oh, okay. Here's the Sublime Prophet. Like I remember, way less torque resistance, but still has that late fade. Here's the Glow Prophet from my bag. Yeah, more stability, similar glide to the pickle. I'm gonna go grab all those, throw them at least one more time, and then maybe form some final thoughts. All right. So that's kind of went how I expect. The bullet was the farthest UFO, the glow UFO a little bit behind it, but all of them were within like 235 to 250. I think the bullet was right at like 252 when I shot it back here roughly. So again, thrown into kind of a crosswind here, and then it's a pretty big crosswind once it gets out there. So I'm gonna try and throw them all one more time. Maybe put them on a little hyzer, just see, since some of them were starting to flip over to the left, give them a little more true flight, let them fight that wind. Well, let's throw them one more time and then form some opinions. First up, we got the Royal Party pickle. Nice. Woo. Nice. Still flipped over. I guess I didn't throw the Royal UFOs a lot, but I guess that's what you expect for a lot of Royal discs. Little nose up, and that wind's gonna slap it down. Ah, ooh, threw that one low and the wind helped me out. Like that. Like pushing hyzer when to fight the wind. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna go pick those up, find a spot to kind of do a recap and share some of my thoughts. Other than my form starting to slowly improve when I do like field work, which is really just reviewing discs. All right. Let's get some of my first or slash final thoughts. Uh, First off, definitely, I wasn't a fan of the Megasoft earlier when it was throwing, but it is exactly what I was hoping it would be, and it is great now that it's getting a little bit colder. Cold for Texas, but already this morning it was like 45, 50, and the Megasoft Eternal, which I previously wasn't a huge fan of, I liked it a lot more. It got a little stiffer in the cold. Same, well, this Megasoft still very rubbery and still kind of felt floppy and funny, but even it felt a little more throwable in this temperature. So basically, all these Megasoft variants are going to be really good now that the temperatures are getting cooler, at least in Texas, or if you're in other places that I'm sure it gets much colder, they might not be that soft, but they'll still feel pretty good. I came in really looking forward to as soon as I found out they were releasing one and got my hands on one a few weeks ago. The Sublime Pickle is exactly what I was expecting. When they came out with the Megasoft, I was like, okay, I like the flight of the pickle, didn't love the Megasoft, so I was waiting for this another premium plastic, and so this Sublime kind of fits that bill. Thought they were originally going to have Sublime Soft, so maybe that one's still on the way, but this is regular Sublime. Still feels nice and grippy. It's not stiff by any means, but I've really been liking the Sublime that Prodigy's been producing. It was one of my favorite idols. This one's got some cool patterns in it. But yeah, this one lived up to the hype, at least initially, so really like this one. Uh, Megasoft Glow, again, we'll see how it glows later this week, but it feels really nice. Little chalky, but still grippy and not as Megasoft as the other Megasoft one I have. I mean, like I said, if I were to switch to putting with them, it would probably be this regular soft one. A lot of them have these cool swirls, but as a thrower, nothing really sets it apart from some of the others. And then the Firm was a nice thrower. Still not the biggest fan of throwing Royal, but if I was, I think this Firm could be it. I think it would beat in to be a little straighter, kind of flip it over. So I kind of like that one. Still like the Party Royal. It's nice and fun. It flies straight, especially this one that I've thrown at a few events. Starting to get a little beat in, but again, for a few nicks and stuff, but it's not taking abuse or anything like you would expect kind of a baseline plastic putter to. Again, the Firm Royal might beat in right now. This one's kind of the straightest or the flippiest one I've gotten. Again, not too surprising. And then I do think this Megasoft Eternal is the most stable. All of them are pretty neutral, have some late fade. They'll hold lines you put them on. I think I saw that both on Hyzer and the few that I messed up and put on Annie. Those kind of hold that Annie line the whole way. Same with Hyzer. They're not really want to get in the ground, but those will kind of hold the angle and finish left. Even when you fly straight into the wind, they're holding up pretty well. So still really enjoying the pickle. Mint's got a ton of options. Their second disc from manufactured by Prodigy. So I think that's the kind of new trend with the Prodigy made discs. Comes in a lot of different plastics. I know Mint's talked about it's fun to be able to kind of explore and experiment with things, and then maybe dial in which ones they like. But again, with the pickle, I think there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Already 8 different variants, all in this first run. So pretty good start for a first run. A lot of options for both your feel and flight that you kind of want. And then again, comparing them to some of the other discs, none of these shocked me. I mean, these are all discs I've thrown quite a few times, but I would say, I mean, the bullet was, especially this Eternal bullet, like a longer pickle. And then the UFO, again, felt like a deeper one, kind of flew like one. This Glow, at least, this Roll one kind of flipped over a bunch. Profits, more stable. I'd say it's probably closest to these Lassos, at least when I was throwing in this wind. But again, Lassos are pretty good at fighting that wind and just holding straight and then finishing left. So that's what I kind of got in the pickle in today's conditions. But anyway, so that kind of wraps up my initial impressions and like flight review of a whole lot of pickles. Thanks to Mint for hooking me up and just always having good plastic. They hooked me up with a few of these. Got a few special custom ones at the stamp party. Just, a lot of different ways to collect lots of Mint Frisbees. And then shout out to Luke. Just got a new order of loot bags or loot foot bags from them last night, so that was a special surprise. And then yeah, like I said, this chalk bag scene's at last days, but always great for keeping my hands kind of consistent grip, especially now that it's getting a little cooler. They were still flying off fine, and then I almost use it for wind reads just as much. But they've been a great sponsor this year as well. Love supporting these two uh, pretty local companies to Austin, Texas. So I like supporting small, high quality stuff. Anyways, that was my pickle review. Thanks for watching. Let me know if you want to see anything else. Catch you next time.